Good morning, students. We are going to continue with chapter 2 of NCERT, that is sexual reproduction in flowering plants. In our previous presentation, we have discussed microsporogenesis, in which we have learned how microspore mother cell give rise to pollen grain and its various cellular composition. Now, the main motive of today's presentation is how megasporogenesis or formation of egg in embryo sac is being achieved. Now let's continue with the presentation. Topics which have been covered in this tutorial are female reproductive unit, carpel along with its types and parts, structure of megasporangium, and finally megasporogenesis. What is megasporogenesis? It is a process of formation of egg from megaspore mother cell, right? First of all, we are going to discuss about female reproductive unit. As you are quite familiar, in angiosperm, it is referred as pistil or carpel, which is being present as a unit of flower. When in gynoecium, single pistil is going to be present, the situation is referred as monocarpellary. And when in single gynoecium, multiple pistils or carpels are going to be there, the situation is referred as multicarpellary. And when in multicarpellary situation, all of the pistils are being fused one to form a single gynoecium, the situation is referred as syncarpus. Okay, as the word suggests, sync means fused one. When the pistils are being free, not the fused one, the situation is referred as apocarpus. Now develop more understanding or deep understanding with the help of illustrated diagrams. This is the diagram of typical carpel, and you can recognize the various parts of it. These are stigma, style, and ovary. And inside the ovary, you can find six number of ovules which are being arranged in a particular fashion. Okay, and this is hibiscus. This carpel is quite familiar to you as we have done the dissection of this ovule in class 11. You can see the various part, that is stigma, style, and ovary. Ovary reside on a cushion-like structure which is referred as receptacle or thalamus. And in case of papaver, all of the pistils or carpels are the fused one. And you can see these are being fused together to form a single gynoecium. And this situation is referred as what? That is syncarpus. Now look at the case of Michaelia. In Michaelia, the pistil or carpel are being present as a separate entity and they are not being fused together to form a single gynoecium. When pistil is going to present as a separate one or the free one, the situation is referred as apocarpus, right? Okay, so now you have a clear cut idea what is meant by apocarpus or syncarpus situation of gynoecium. Now come to the parts of carpel. You know, carpel comprises of three important parts, that is stigma, style, and ovary. Stigma, as the word suggests, having some sticky fluid for the catchment or for receiving the pollen grain on the surface. Okay, so this structure means for the catchment or receiving the pollen grain which are being present into the outer environment by the process of pollination. Okay, beneath the stigma, what is being present? That is style. Style is long, elongated, cylindrical structure which is going to guide the catched pollen on the surface of stigma towards the ovary for the process of fertilization with the egg. Okay, so it is a connecting link between stigma and the ovary. Now comes to the ovary part. It is a swollen basal portion of the pistil which contains ovule, and you know it is very important part in terms of sexual reproduction in angiosperms. You know that inside the ovary there are cavities, ovarian cavities or locules are being present, and these locules are going to be divided from each other with the help of septum. And what is placentation? Placentation is referred to the arrangement of ovule inside the ovary. And what is placenta? Placenta is a kind of tissue in ovarian cavity from where ovule or megasporangium going to arise. Okay, so the arising point of the ovule is placenta. The number of ovules can vary in various species, like in case of wheat, mango, paddy, the number of ovule inside the ovary is one. Only single ovule is there. And in case of papaya, watermelon, orchids, the number of ovules inside the ovary can be numerous one. Okay, so there is clear cut demarcation on the number of ovules for a particular species concern. Now, let's have a view over the typical anatropous ovule. Anatropous ovule is the most common type of ovule which occur in 80% of angiospermic families. So this is very very important from the examination point of view, from the understanding point of view. You have to practice this diagram at least thrice. Okay, today only. Otherwise, you will forget whatever you have learned in this presentation. You can see the most important structure is embryo sac, and there are two important poles. One is micropylar pole and other one is chalazal pole. And the embryo sac is quite protective inside a covering which is referred as integument. And integument is actually two layer covering. One is outer one, another one is inner one. You can demarcate in the diagram as well. This is the outer covering, and beneath the outer covering there is inner integument. And these integument are quite absent at micropyle and perform a specialized function over here. We will discuss when we are going to discuss about pollination and fertilization even. This is very very important. Now comes to the next important multicellular layer, that is nucleus. Nucleus cells are specialized cells. Nucleus and nurse cell. Okay, these are referred as nurse cells. Nurse cells are going to provide all sort of nourishment to the developing embryo sac. Okay, so they are referred as nurse cells. Okay, and now comes to the funicle. Funicle is referred as the attachment or stalk-like structure for the ovule. Whole of the ovule is being attached with a stalk-like structure which is referred as funicle. Now, what is hilum? Hilum is a junction between funicle and the ovule. It is a junction point. Okay. Uh, let's have a quick recapitulation of all of the parts. First of all, you have to draw this embryo sac, because whole of the parts of the embryo sac are going to be important. Okay, so this embryo sac is very very important while drawing all of the ovule part. You can see two poles, that is one is micropylar pole and other one is chalazal pole. And the embryo sac is quite safe or being protective with the help of integuments. And integument comprises of two layer. One is outer one, another one is inner one. Inside the inner one, the layer of nucleus cells are being there. Nucleus is meant for providing all sort of nourishment to the developing embryo sac. The integument layer is absent at micropyle, and hilum act as a junction between funicle and the ovule. Now have a detailed understanding about each and every part. Ovule is stalked and attached to the placenta by means of a stalk called funicle. Okay, so it is a stalk kind of thing which is meant for the attachment of what, that is ovule. Now comes to the hilum, as we have discussed that it is a junction between an ovule and the funicle. Sometimes funicle is going to extend beyond that of the hilum. The situation is referred as rifa. Okay, so you have a clear cut idea what is rapha is. Rapha is a when funicle going to extend beyond that of the hilum, the situation is referred as rapha. The ovule is going to be surrounded by integument, and integument is more protective in nature, and it is two layer thick. One is outer one, another one is inner one. Integument are going to be absent at the micropyle, as we have discussed. The basal part of an ovule opposite to the micropyle is referred as chelicil pole. All of the embryo sac is rest on the basal portion, which is referred as chelicil pole. The cells with high and abundant reserve food material, or the nerve cells, these are referred as nucleus. Okay. The female gametophyte located within the nucleus is referred as embryo sac. Embryo sac is that structure which is meant for the fertilization with the pollen one. Now, this is very very important part we are going to start. That is the process of megasporogenesis, and you can easily recognize this is the nucleus cells layer, and the one prominent cell is there, that is referred as megaspore mother cell. Now you have a great idea why it is called as megaspore. This cell is quite larger than rest of the cells of the ovule. So this cell is very very specialized, which is meant for the sexual reproduction in angiosperm, and it is going to divide by the process of meiosis. As you know, megaspore mother cells or the mother cells or the myocytes are going to divide with the help of meiosis. Okay, by the process of meiosis, and the end product of the meiosis will be four cells. This is referred as megaspore tetrad, and this is the intermediate stage, that is meiosis 1, where two cells you can easily see. This is the result of meiosis 1, and this is the result of meiosis 2 or end of the meiosis process. You can see four haploid cells are going to be arise from the single diploid mother cell, and this mother cell in case of egg is megaspore mother cell. Okay. Now mmc first divide transversely, as you can easily recognize that the first division is transverse division. These cells are going to arrange in a ladder form, so the division is a transverse division, and ultimately four haploid cells are going to arise from megaspore mother cell, or in the form of megaspore tetrad or linear tetrad. Why it is called as linear? Just see this part, you can see this is the linear arrangement of the cells, and cells are going to be divided in the transverse plane. So this is the transverse plane, and the four haploid cells are going to be arranged in a form of linear fashion. That's why they are also referred as linear tetrad. Understand? Out of these four megaspores, only one remains functional. So only one is going to be remain functional, and other three is going to be degenerated. As soon as they are going to be formed, the remaining three cells are going to be degenerated. The one functional megaspore develops into the female gametophyte or embryo sac. Only one cell is going to form the whole structure of the embryo sac. Rest of the three will degenerate. This is called monosporic development. Why it is referred as monosporic development? Because from the megaspore tetrad, only one cell is going to give rise to the whole embryo sac. That's why it is referred as monosporic development. In case of angiosperm, this is very very important term. You have to learn it by your heart. Megasporogenesis. Now have a deep understanding about the process of megasporogenesis. It is a process of formation of haploid megaspore from the diploid megaspore mother cells, as we have discussed earlier as well. In the micropylar region, the nucleus cells are going to have dense cytoplasm and prominent nucleus, which is differentiated as a single megaspore mother cell. And you can see only single cell is capable to give rise to whole structure of embryo sac. So this is very very important. Megaspore mother cell is diploid one. However, it is going to uh, divide by the process of meiosis, going to form tetrad cells, that is four cells. The formation of female gametophyte is called megagametogenesis. We have discussed several times. This term is referred as gametogenesis. Megaspore is the first cell of female gametophyte. As you know, megaspore mother cell is the first cell of female gametophyte, which is going to divide by the process of meiosis, going to form four haploid megaspore tetrad. Okay, the megaspore increases in size and its nucleus divide mitotically. You can see here the one cell which is being present after the degeneration of three cells in the tetrad is going to divide by the mitosis process, and ultimately four cells are going to be formed, and then these four cells are going to divide again to form eight nucleus. Only nucleus we are talking about, because nuclear division is not going to be followed by cell division. There is no cell division, and you can see these nucleus are the free floating nucleus. Okay, so there is no cell wall, nothing is there up to the 8 nucleate stage. And after 8 nucleate stage, you can see the cell wall formation is going to be started at the micropylar end, and then it's going to start at the antipodal, and finally at the central part. Okay, you can see this micropylar and is going to be flip over here. For the convenience part, you can understand it very well. It is being present in the NCRT, so you have to go through the diagram twice, because the position is going to be flip one. Here is the micropylar and this is going to be flip. In the very next diagram, it is the basal part in the embryo-sac, final embryo-sac diagram. At chelysal end, you can see three antipodals are there, and at the central cell, two nucleus are there, and then these three cells are going to form the egg apparatus. Okay, you can see two synergids are there, and one egg cell is here. Okay, at the fourth section, the egg cell is there, and you can see the finger like projection, the beautiful finger like projections. These are referred as filiform apparatus, and they are meant to guide the pollen nucleus towards the egg. Where is egg? Then the filiform apparatus is going to help out our fellow, that is polar nucleus, to and guide the polar nucleus towards that of the egg. This is very very important part of the egg apparatus. And now you have a clear cut understanding. These synergies are very very important, and beneath that synergid there is axil, which is meant for the process of fertilization. And at the central cell there is no cell wall formation, so two nucleus reside into that of the single cell, and three antipodal cells are there. So now count the number of the cells. You can see one, two, three, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so we have seven cells in embryo sac. And how many nucleus are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 8 nucleus are there in angiospermic embryo sac. This is quite unique specialty of angiospermic embryo sac, because it comprises of 7 cells but 8 nucleus. Okay, so you have a clear cut idea how these diagrams are being correlated. First of all, you have to see this diagram, that one cell which is quite elongated and having lot of reserve food material is going to give rise four tetrad cells, or the linear tetrad cells, by the process of meiosis. And from these tetrad, the three are going to be degenerated. Only one cell is going to participate in formation of the embryo cell. Okay, now move to the this diagram again, that one cell which is left behind in the tetrad cell is going to divide by the process of mitosis. Okay, because meiosis has already happened, so what kind of division they are going to follow? That is mitosis. And ultimately, by having mitosis, two nucleus are going to be formed, and from two the four nucleus are going to be formed, and ultimately, mm, 8 nucleus are going to be formed, and the nuclear division is not going to be followed by cell wall formation. So not immediately after 8 nucleate stage, it's going to form a cell wall, especially at the micropylar end first. Then you can see the three nucleus are going to reside at the micropylar end, and from three nucleus they are going to form separate wall and forming synergid cells along with the egg cell. And egg cell is quite crucial from the point of view of fertilization in angiosperm. And you can see at chelazal and three antipodal cells are there, and at the central cell you can easily recognize two nuclei are there. That is very very important section, and you have to do all the stages in a systematic manner for the CBSE board preparation. Okay, now let's have a good idea about all of the division. The two daughter nuclei undergo another mitotic division and forming four nucleate stage, and after four nucleate stage the eighth nucleate stage is going to be formed. And ultimately what going to happen, that out of eight nucleate, each the two nucleus are going to be reside into the single cell, that is central cell, and rest of the nucleus are going to form separate cells altogether. The central cells contain two nucleus. That's what I was talking about. The three nuclei at the micropylar region forms the egg apparatus. And egg apparatus comprises of two synergids and one egg cell. The egg apparatus, the middle cell is the longest and called oosphere egg ovum, while the other two naked cells adjoining the cell egg cell are called synergids. Synergids are the companion cells of the egg. The three nuclei at the chelazal end are surrounded by cytoplasm and cellular wall. These are called antipodal cells. Female gametophyte is called seven celled eight nucleate structure because seven cells are there, but eight nucleus are there, and two nucleus are going to be present in the central cell. This is the whole diagram what we have talked in this section, that is stigma, style and ovary. And inside the ovary you can easily see the embryo sac. Okay, these are the integuments. You can see the lines, these are the integuments, and you can see three cells over here, three cells over here, and one big cells at the central cell. And these nucleus are the polar one, and polar nuclei are having haploid chromosomal content, and axel again going to have haploid chromosomal content. This diagram is quite clear, and you have to practice this diagram again twice at least for the better understanding. That's all for today. Thank you.